guys, so I've got a very, very interesting pair of people, and it's amazing to finally meet some great players on LinkedIn. Jonathan and Zdenek, two outstanding figures where they want to share their story to my 28,000 followers on LinkedIn. And if you don't know who I am, you're not going to catch me on video, but I'm sure my audience knows who I am because I've got such a big, big audience. And it's great to get two phenomenal guys to tell us exactly what is going on with their company, DCMM, and what is happening with transformation of IT services, which DCMM represent for. So it's a privilege to get Jonathan and Zdenek on board. It's amazing to also hear their thoughts and their views. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jonathan. Tell us how you got started with DCMM, and Zdenek will then go on to you, and you can tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing and how you're sort of changing these services.
Sure. So the organization Q4IT, I got involved with a little over a year ago now, and I was meeting up with Zdenek from Q4IT, and really our passion in terms of helping CIOs, in terms of supporting what they're trying to do, and really looking and understanding the changes that are happening in our industry. And I think that the interesting point was really around what Zdenek was trying to do, and the new ideas and paradigms that he was bringing to our industry. So I kind of got involved from that perspective and really helping to kind of grow and get that message out there.
And tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm based in Czech Republic, and we do IT service management. We do ITIL trainings for years. And so while we do this stuff for different clients, we started to realize that there might be some other way how to approach IT management in general. So this is how DCMM was created.
And DCMM was born like this. What is it that you want to change in these services? How is DCMM representing this? And tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing in this area, Zdenek.
So I will start. What we do frequently, we measure the quality of IT management practices. So we have our own product, which is called IT Quality Index. We measure different IT departments. And while we visit and meet different CIOs on different levels, we see that some of them are quite happy with what they do with service management. But we also met with CIOs who are using IT service management for many years, and somehow they can't move forward. They can't modernize what they do. So we started to think that there could be some other way how to manage IT in general. Whether we could think about different paradigm on the role of IT in organizations.
And Jonathan, do you want to elaborate on that and tell us what DCMM represents in this space, so then we can educate our audience on what you guys are doing?
Yes, so I mean, from my perspective, when you look at the world in which the CIO operates, there are some very big changes happening just now. So this whole idea of organizations becoming digital and intelligent and using emerging technologies, and we're starting to see that organizations are having to kind of sense their environment. They're having to learn from that, adapt to that, and make changes continuously. And the models that are out there simply don't fit that kind of fast-paced change. They're more from the industrial era, where it was more about regulation, compliance, strong process, where changes didn't really happen all that much, not on this kind of scale. So for me, DCMM is quite simply focused in that area. This is a model which takes more inspiration from biology and complex networks than it does from 20th century thinking. So it's an entirely new paradigm specifically aimed to help CIOs navigate what has become a very uncertain and fast-paced changing environment.
I like the fact that you mentioned that this is a fast-paced environment, and obviously my audience, when they hear this, some of them are very big digital transformation experts, especially with the large audience I have. What fundamental problems do you think the world is facing in terms of this, in terms of digital transformation, especially within the structures of the company? Because I like the fact that you kind of highlighted, Jonathan, that there is a problem there in terms of digital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, from my perspective, the challenge with digital right now is, one, there is no clear definition of what it is. Everybody has a kind of different view on what being digital is all about. And when I look at all of the kind of offerings that are out there, a lot of them are trying to create an end state. So this is what digital transformation is. This is what you do, and this is how you end up, and this is digital. So you use these technologies, you've implemented them, and for me, I think that there's an inherent danger there, mainly because in digital there is no end state.
Right.
That's the whole point. It's a continual evolution, not just of little bits on the outside of your organization, or even bits about the product or services that you do. It's about your entire business model is going to continually evolve, and you need to be a bit like a human, if you think about it in that terms, where we have the body, if you like, which is the organization, and within it you have organs, which are the kind of departmental areas. And they're all working for the good of the whole. And that is continually sensing, adjusting, adapting, and changing to everything that's going on in our environment.
Right. Zdenek, would you like to add to that in terms of where you guys now stand with all this?
Yes. As we teach and consult IT service management for years, we started to realize that there is something missing, like innovation. The general approach of IT managers is frequently in passive mode. They just sit and wait for business requirements. And we wanted to bring completely new model, which explicitly defines new position of IT departments in organization. We explicitly say that IT department is responsible for digital transformation. This is something what many CIOs didn't comprehend yet.
Right.
And we ask who is responsible for digital transformation. They usually don't know the answer. So what we try to say that IT department role in organizations should change. They should have more responsibilities. They should be responsible for digital capabilities of entire organizations. It's not about delivering services. Of course they do or will deliver a certain part of services, but in general they need to think much broader. They are part of the new future which is coming for the organizations.
So DCMM, let's go to the actual company itself. You know what yourself and Jonathan kind of represent is DCMM is basically a solution to these problems to basically fix this. Is that kind of where you stand with digital transformation, Zdenek?
Just to clarify, our company is called Q4IT, which means quality for IT. And we specialize for quality management and in IT governance in general. And DCMM is a completely new book, which is bringing a new management model. So it's defining the way, it's defining the management pattern, how IT departments should be managed. And this management pattern could be used as a general management pattern for the entire organization.
And Q4IT, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about what your company is doing in that aspect, and sort of continue what Zdenek was actually answering about.
Yeah, so Q4IT have been going for a number of years now, and the whole ethos behind it was, how can they help the CIO in the challenges and that they have, and that's by providing a number of different things. So from thought leadership to providing training, providing education into the organization, providing new models and new ways of working. The whole idea behind Q4IT is about quality. How do we improve the quality of IT? And there's a number of ways to do that. And I think that their core skill sets really focus not just on the people, but the process, as well as the quality that you're actually getting from that department. So as a CIO,
right,
if someone says, how good is our IT? How do you answer that? Traditionally, it's a very difficult question to answer. Q4IT as a whole answers that question.
So Q4IT is like it's a company basically helping those CIOs in that area to basically develop and manage digital transformation. What problems is Q4IT trying to solve then? I mean, going on to the next question, Zdenek, what problems are you trying to solve? I understand in this interview, I was only talking to Jonathan when I was live on the video, but I know that, you're trying to solve, an issue, and you're trying to spread your voice. And this is quite important to, an audience of magnitude that I have. What problems do you guys face when it comes to solving these issues for CIOs and so forth, and how can you support their framework?
Mm-hmm. So the fundamental issue which we see now is that IT departments frequently present themselves as a service provider, which in our opinion is not the best way how to promote importance of IT. So the new model, DCMM, is bringing a new paradigm which says that IT is responsible for digital capabilities. And this paradigm shift has major implications. For example, IT department should be responsible for much more innovations than today. So the idea is that IT department should have allocated more resources for innovations. People in IT should spend less time on measuring and reporting operational figures like process KPIs, which at the end no one really cares about.
Right.
But they should use much more attention to innovations, to experimentation in exploring new technologies. And the DCMM model says that the resources of IT department should be proportionally distributed between innovations, adaptations, remediations, and reductions. Yes?
That's very interesting, because we're actually now understanding what Q4IT is and how this DCMM model is coming into place and what you guys are doing. So what were you saying, Zdenek? That is the fundamental program that Q4IT are delivering, right?
Yes. So we want to disrupt the way how traditional IT management practices are practiced now. And we want to bring completely new paradigm on the role of IT departments. As I said, refocus on operational processes and rather focus much more on innovations, collaboration with departments.
Jonathan, would you like to add to that? It's really interesting where, digital transformation is changing with speed. And I feel in this day and age, companies are still trying to implement their changes that are happening, but are obviously lacking the tools and systems. Q4IT could be something where, you are providing those solutions, as Zdenek was mentioning, which is very, very important for the people that are actually watching this video interview. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, I think very simply, you can't fix problems with the same thinking that created them.
Right.
I think that organizations they have a traditional way of working, and they have their best practices and their processes that they follow. And really the kind of paradigms or the approaches, the beliefs and the thoughts on what a business should be, how it should look at that. And it's actually starting to hold them back.
I agree, yeah.
What we need to do is we need to come up with something entirely different, an entirely new way of thinking about things. So, rather than getting hung up on business cases and, trying to kind of finite detail that you're just not going to be able to get at such pace. And people kind of think, but that's just not the way business is. Well, if you actually think about it, if you look at something like Google Maps, I like to use this example. Nobody created a business case to develop Google Maps. They allowed a developer on a Friday to do something he thought was really interesting. So he thought
that's interesting.
So he did. He created the early stage of what Google Maps is. And it was only after that point where they started to kind of realize that this new digital capability, this digital agent that they've given birth to, could actually be considerable value. And then they started to work out, now how do we better utilize that? How do we get from where we are now into something that actually kind of generates revenue for the organization and provides benefit? And that's when you started to see Google Maps become more and more developed as things went on. It became more in terms of GPS, etc. And now we see something that is, I guess, we just take for granted. Everybody has Google Maps on their.
So that's a very good example how Google Maps changed. Now, talking about the DCMM model, right? Obviously you mentioned that this is a model that's changing digital transformation, and Zdenek touched upon a few points about this, how Q4IT is implementing this program, and it's a groundbreaking success, and I totally agree that companies do need Q4IT support. Just the fact that a lot of companies are still backdated with their digital transformation processes. Break down to us, to my audience of 28,000 followers, what is the DCMM model?
Mm-hmm. So DCMM model is book. It was published in December last year, and we started to communicate the content of the book only recently of several conferences. But in general, the key idea behind the book is that we should approach organization in similar way to organism. And what you can observe at any given moment in any given organism, that there are many activities. There are many activities which are going on while they are not requested by anyone. It just happens. So this is one of the principles. IT department is responsible for many activities.
Very true, yes.
Which needs to happen within IT department, and those activities should be understood. So the fundamental part of the model is that we need to understand what activities happen inside IT departments, what is the structure of the activities, and to understand energy balance of those activities. In other words, we need to understand to which benefit of the organization the activities are transformed. So activities are different from processes, and in general, this approach is providing IT managers much more flexibility. It provides them much more opportunities to allocate resources where needed, when needed, while traditional management practices like service management are very focused on process KPIs. So this is one of the fundamental differences coming with DCMM.
That's a very good overview of telling us exactly, what this model is and how it's changing the process. Jonathan, would you like to elaborate as well, how this model is, changing these practices inside? And, Zdenek touched upon a very good few points there that, I think is worth elaborating on. So can you elaborate further now what the model is?
Yeah, so DCMM, I think, think it's important to add, just in terms of digital transformation, there are many sources of why we need to transform, why we need to do various elements, but there are very few that tell you what they are.
True.
Many of the large consultancies will come out and say you need to be more dynamic, you need to do this, you need to do that, but they don't tell you how. How do I be more dynamic?
Well, I actually went through the DCMM program, and it's very interesting how you guys have broken down those dynamics into pictures and also infographic display. And I think it's so important that when a company, obviously wants to look at changing their digital transformation, as Zdenek mentioned, and I'm sorry to say, I'm quite enthusiastic by this, and obviously my audience is going to obviously be taken by this, but it's actually a lengthy booklet that you guys have actually produced, which is very interesting, telling exactly the problems and issues companies face. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think, it's way over 200 pages, and it's really a distillation of a number of years of effort and understanding and working in this area from many CIOs, including Zdenek, who has a long time in this industry. But where I'm going with what I was saying earlier is that we then go beyond just why. We go into what and how.
True.
And it's helping people with very specific, easy steps in understanding what they are, how to implement them, and the benefit that will come from them.
So that's very interesting about DCMM. So have some of these practices been met, and have you employed this with various institutions or companies, Zdenek?
This concept is very young. It was developed just a few weeks ago. And we are bringing this new management pattern to the life, and we are speaking about this to different audiences. Of course, this book was distributed to many CIOs. We received very good feedback about the book, and we believe that this is the way how modern CIOs could transform their management practices into something what is fitting better the future.
Jonathan?
I would just add to that. While it's taken a couple of years to develop and has only just recently gone live, we actually won the Best Workshop Award 2018 with ITSMF for the work that we've done in showing this to CIOs and sparking the question, getting people talking and debating again.
And that's important that people also value this model DCMM and what you guys are kind of bringing to the table. Do you think these transitions, these transformations that this theory that you've come out with is going to play a massive impact in the workforce for the next, say, 10 years' time?
In my view, the actual management practices like IT service management, Agile, DevOps, it will remain as it is because there is many years invested in adopting those practices. But at this same moment, we see that there are many CIOs who tried those practices and they simply didn't get better results.
Right.
And they're asking for something completely different, something what is new and designed with different paradigm, different logic. So DCMM is targeted to modern, innovative, disruptive CIOs who want to explore new management models.
And digital transformation is all about cost cutting. It's all about cost cutting within the company. It's one of the biggest fundamental problems that a lot of companies face. They are overspending in their changes and transformation. Do you think Q4IT with this model will help companies cost cut when it comes to implementing these services, Jonathan?
Yes, I do. I think that there is a huge amount of spend going on without a return happening, and people are starting to lose trust in IT. They want them to take the leadership role on digital transformation. They need the support from their technology function. Unfortunately, the projects aren't succeeding.
No.
An overwhelming number are starting to fail, and that's where the majority of that kind of bad spend is coming from. What we're saying is, if we take an entirely different approach, like I mentioned earlier on, you cannot fix the same issues or the issues that you have with the same mindset that created them. So we have to try a completely different approach, moving away from traditional standards and into something much more modern, designed for the digital era.
Zdenek, would you like to add to that how you will help, those companies obviously, save time and money, that's the whole point of implementing, especially what Q4IT are doing and how they've moved forward. What does it take to cost cut and save the company time and money?
Mm-hmm. This is a really good question, and we see it frequently that CIOs are getting lower and lower budgets. And I think it has some reason. The reason is that IT departments present themselves as a service providers.
Right.
And as they are service providers, everyone is trying to buy services for lower price.
True.
We need to change the paradigm on the role of IT. Is innovations department, which is responsible for bringing new digital capabilities. They should get much bigger budget for experimentation, for trying new stuff. And this bigger budget should come from new management model. So the idea is that IT department is discontinuing acting as a service provider, but starting to act as a digital capability department, which is responsible for digital capabilities of entire organization. And as every human wants to have better capabilities, also organization wants to get better digital capabilities. And I believe many organizations have huge budgets for improving, innovating, and this needs to be approached actively by IT, not just waiting someone to asking some external company to do some innovations. IT should be active and bringing new paradigm or approach CEOs to ask or offer them different management model comparing to what they do now.
There you go, guys. So what a great answer. And obviously, we've talked about some very fundamental issues about what Q4IT are delivering. And, we've talked about what they do, their DCMM structure, how they're cost-cutting, how they're saving, the transformation within the business. And I tell you what, one of the great things I like to do is interview great people like Jonathan and Zdenek, who are putting their neck on the line to tell us exactly, what Q4IT are doing. And just to cut it to the point, they were awarded, So it's a very fundamental topic to talk about and exactly tell us. And I am quite enthusiastic. You don't see me on the video, but I tell you what, it's very interesting to hear what these guys have got to say. And I'm sure my audience is going to resonate. Just a quick final question. Where is the roadmap now going with, in the next 6 months? Tell us exactly what's happening there. Zdenek?
So, yes, the book was published and this was our goal for the last year. And what we started now, and this is also the reason why I'm here now in Singapore and speaking about this with different people. The idea is to promote it and explain audience that there is different management model existing. So what we are doing now, we are communicating the new model. And it will be presented on several conferences. There will be more in communication coming through social media. And at this, our plan is to communicate it to the world.
And that's why I'm here to actually share it to my audience. And Jonathan, what's going on? I know that a voice is very big for you guys. You did mention to me that you want to spread your vision like Zdenek is doing, and obviously you're presenting at conferences. You're at Singapore. You've won awards. What is it now happening in the next 6 months' time that can tell us exactly what's going on?
Okay, so we have a number of events. We have some events coming up in Glasgow here in Scotland. We have more coming up later in the year in London. If people want to check out the website, Q4IT, they'll be able to see all of the classes that we're running and the locations globally that we're going to be running them. So if they want to get involved, if they want to understand more, they can happily come along to those. There are certified courses which allow people to gain accreditation, and there will be more workshops around DCMM and exploring what it is and helping to improve it. Internally, we're also going to be looking at developing the model further and looking into new areas that this will start to help and evolve, just like we've said earlier on, and continue with that main focus and that goal of how do we help senior IT leadership and CIOs to improve what they have.
There you go, guys. It's an absolute fascinating interview. You know, we got there at the end, and it's very important to hear what Jonathan and Zdenek had to tell us about what is going on with Q4IT and especially their model. So it's a privilege to interview you guys. I am quite enthusiastic the way you're tackling this area, and you know everyone should follow Q4IT, follow their voice, follow what these guys are doing, because they're very serious in terms of how they want to change and transform within the departments of IT. So it's great to get you guys on the board, and I can't wait to release this interview. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Zdenek. Thank you, Jonathan.
Cheers.